Hello, everyone. Welcome to our training today. I am Brittany from Miles Partnership. We are the team working with Explore Minnesota Tourism to build out their new partner listings and event listings database called the Extranet. This is in coordination with their new website. We're here today to teach you how to manage your business and event listings in the new system. Couple housekeeping things want to go over before we dive into the demo. We are recording this training today. Explore Minnesota Tourism will post the recording of the training on their industry site, along with a handy user manual that coincides with what we'll largely be covering in today's training. This training is tailored to account owners and editors, which include the likes of business owners and business marketers. There may be some DMOs on the line as well, and while this will be a really good introduction to the Extranet for you, we will probably need to provide some additional training material to you folks after the launch. For today, we're really going to focus on the basics of the Extranet, which appeals largely to account owners and account editors. The new website is scheduled to launch in early February. However, the Extranet is ready to be used right now. You can start by going into the system as soon as your user login is set up. Before we dive into the demo, I want to highlight a few main differences between the old system and the new system. The new system allows you to upload more photos and videos. We'll go into greater detail around that later on in the training, but that is a big benefit of this new system, is that you can have more photos and more videos in your listings. The new website doesn't require places to stay listings to be separate from things to do listings. All of that information can be housed under one listing. So for example, if you are a state park that happens to have a campground and offer hiking and biking, etc., all of those categories can be attached to the same single listing. The team at Explore Minnesota Tourism is working on combining those multiple listings into single listings now. When you get in there, you may see that you previously had several listings, and now you will only have one listing, and this is why. Also, we did our best to migrate all of the data from the old system to the new system, but you may notice that some data doesn't appear quite right. So please take the time to go through your listing after this training to ensure all of the data is correct and to load more photos and videos. For the purposes of training today, I will be conducting the demo in a different URL than what you will use to access the Extranet. So this URL up here is set up just for testing. The real URL is extranet.exploreminnesota.com. That URL is linked on the Explore Minnesota industry site, so you may find that easily by going to Explore Minnesota Tourism's industry site. You're more than welcome to follow along, but know that you will need to have your user account set up first. So if you don't have that user account set up quite yet, then you will not be able to follow along. But again, this training is being recorded, so after it's over today, Explore Minnesota Tourism will link it on their industry site, and you can come back and take another walkthrough using the recording. And then finally, if you have any questions, you may use the Q&A feature in the webinar widget. We'll try to answer all of the questions at the end of the webinar. So with that, let's get started. First things first, what is the Extranet? So Explore Minnesota Tourism's database. This is what it is. It's Explore Minnesota Tourism's database of tourism businesses and events, and it's connected to exploreminnesota.com through an API. This is where you will have your free business listings and free event listings. They're available to attractions, dining establishments, events, and tourism organizations. It's how you guys get listed and appear on the new website. So how do we access the Extranet? Well, as I mentioned earlier, the URL that's being used today is for demo purposes only. So what we will do is, assuming you have the correct URL from the Explore Minnesota Tourism website, if you had an account set up in the old system, what you're going to do is you are going to click on or find your email address that was in the old system, and you're going to click this link down here called I Forgot My Password. Enter your email address, and then you're going to hit Send Password Reset Email. All of the usernames were ported over from the old system to the new system. However, the passwords were not carried over, as it's not a very secure way of doing that. So after you click Send Password Reset Email, check your inbox, and if you're not finding it there, check your spam and junk folders, as it might have fallen into any of those folders. If the email cannot be found at all, try using another email address that might have been used in the old system. Or what you can do is select the back button here, and you can click this Request New Account. And you'll be taken to this form here that you will fill out all of the fields, and then you will click Register. It takes about 2 business days for the Explore Minnesota Tourism team to review account requests. So allow about 2 business days for that. And then once it is reviewed and approved, you'll receive a confirmation email with instructions. Again, check your spam and junk folders just in case to make sure that it did not fall there. So coming back over, hitting the back button here, if you need any other sort of help here, you'll also find that link very handy on the login screen. From this Need Help button, you will find a link to the training manual, which I mentioned earlier in the call here. It is a PDF download, and it's a step-by-step guide for setting up your business listing or your event listing. Again, if you are not needing this step-by-step guide, but you are needing to reach out to the team at Explore Minnesota Tourism, fill out the support request and hit submit. This will also take about 2 business days before they're able to respond. So let's pretend that I have already gone through the steps and I have a login. So I am going to log in here. And what you will see here is the Extranet dashboard. This is where all of your associated listings and events will appear first in this dashboard. If you do not see your listing here, your business listing, your event listing here, then it either may not be created or you may need to set up an account. So I'm going to give you a quick overview of the navigation up here along the top. So you've got this little hamburger nav icon here that you can click to expand and contract the menu that you see over here on the left-hand side. You can also use the search button if you have listings already connected within your account. You can simply start typing them in, and you will see all of you'll see your account, you'll see your listings, and any sort of business listings and event listings, if you have any, that will appear here. So it's just a nice, easy way to kind of find your listings quickly. You can also come over here to the right-hand side, and I'm going to go through this a little bit later, but this little plus icon, what this is it will drop down, and you will be able to access the menu to see how to create a new listing and how to create a new event. And then we also have the help button up here too. This is the same form that we showed you on the login screen here. So access to the user manual, and then also the various fields to fill out if you need support help from the Explore Minnesota team. You'll also see your username up here. You can click on that, and that shows you all of your user information. So first name, last name, your title, and your email address, as well as your account roles, which I will go over in a minute. And then you have the option to sign out right up here. So the buttons along the left-hand side, these are all associated with your account. You'll see in this little drop down, it will not drop down if you are only associated with one account. I am only associated with one account, so I cannot select anything within this drop down, but you'll see which account you're associated with. All listings are associated with accounts. Every business and event must be associated with an account, otherwise you can't have a business listing or an event listing. Businesses will typically only have one account, but they may have multiple listings for multiple locations and multiple events. If you don't have an account, you will need to complete a support request, and an administrator will link you to your proper account. Within the account, you can manage your primary business address, users, and photos. So you'll see that over here on the left-hand side, we've got this dashboard link here, and then we've got photos down here. And all of your photos will be housed at the account level. So if you want to use photos for your business listing and you want to use photos for your event listing, you will upload those all right here. So actually, let's take some time to go through and upload some photos. So here you'll see some brief instructions. Any format, JPEG and PNG format photos are acceptable here. However, the photo must be at least 640 pixels wide. The slideshow for your listing on the Explore Minnesota Tourism website is horizontally orientated, but it can handle vertical images as well, as long as they are 640 pixels wide. So we do recommend that the first image in your image gallery be horizontal. It ensures that all of it will crop well and it'll appear wonderfully on the website. The photos are unlimited. We generally say anywhere from 3 to 10 photos is a best practice. So aim for 3 to 10 photos. And let's go ahead and upload some of these. Perfect. Okay, so once we've uploaded the images, we can go in to each of the various images and we can click edit. There's some additional fields here that you can fill out. We generally recommend filling out the alt text field. This is the field used for users with visual impairment so that they can understand the contents of the image on the site. It should be a very short, literal description of what is pictured in the photo. For example, something like this could be seating area in a coffee shop, and that will suffice. Captions are not required, however, you may add them if you'd like. It's really more important from an SEO and usability perspective to add that alt text field. And you'll see down here that there's no assigned listings. We will go through the process of assigning that listing. And if you do need to delete your photo, you can do that from this button here, or you can come back to photos and you can simply hit this trash can icon to update that photo. And then a final note about photos as you upload them. Visitors want to really have their imagination captured. And they're really attracted. So when you're trying to sell the experience of what you're trying to capture from that visitor, and what your place of business is really like, logos, while they're important to your brand, they can tend to get lost and cluttered looking in sort of a sea of listings. So aim for that really attractive horizontal image that shows off the experience of what you're offering instead of a logo. Okay, so now we've added photos at the account level. We're also going to go into this Manage button here, and we're going to take a look at users, and then briefly go through this user menu here. So there are two different kinds of users, account owners and account editors. Both users can create and edit events, listings, and photos. However, only the account owner is able to receive communications about that account by email. So if there is an account editor, they will not receive any sort of notifications over email about the account. This menu here is where you will see all of your users associated with your account. If you need to add or remove a user, you can do that by clicking the help button in the nav up here and submitting a support request. And then finally, under this manage menu here, you can click the settings button. And this is where you're going to manage your primary business location address. So this is where your corporate headquarters may be, or where all of your mail should be sent to. Really, it's not what is going to be reflected on the website. What's reflected on the website is within your listing, not your account. However, this is important to make sure that this is also up to date. So here I've got all of this filled out, and I'm going to click save. All right, so we have successfully gone through the steps of setting up our account and making sure our account is in good shape. Now we are going to start with a listing. So you're going to click the listings menu over here in the left-hand nav. And then within this view, you will see all of your listings that you have associated with your account. As you can see, I have several locations as part of my business. However, I need to add another one. I have another business. So what I am going to do is come up to the Create Listing button, or I can come up in the nav here and create new listing. It brings me to the same exact page. And I'm going to go through the steps of creating a listing. So we will call this Brittany's Coffee Shop North. And then from the address line here, I will be entering a new address. However, if you click this pick button, you can actually select an address that already exists within the system. So if you do have multiple listings with the same address, which is fairly unlikely, you can use this feature. However, if you have a separate listing, they probably will more than likely have a separate address. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add my address here. Okay. So I've entered all of these fields, and then publish under. This is another field that is used in setup for site functionality. So it will help our grid. It will help your listing appear on the right pages of the website. So you are going to find your city and publish that again under that drop down here. And then we're going to come over to hours. So in the hours section, you are going to add, you're going to select whether it's open year-round or open seasonally. If you do select open seasonally, you can select more than one season. So maybe you're only open in the spring and in the summer. You can select a season for each of those as such. So let's actually start with spring. So here is one season right here, and then you would add all of your associated hours with that season. So I am open on Tuesdays, and each day would get its own entry. However, I will show you how to do this slightly differently. Let's see, so Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And this is a really great feature if you're hours vary from day to day. So maybe on Saturday, I'm open from 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. And there we go. What you're going to do to complete this, you're going to add, oh, I'm sorry. So you have already added all of this information, and to add another season, you're going to click this Add Season button. So it probably makes more sense to maybe be open in the spring and the fall here, or if your hours vary, maybe you are open year round, but your hours vary by season. This is another great feature to use for that. So we'll go ahead and say September to November. Let's just say we're open those 2 days. So with that, all of those entries are entered. You can also click Open Year Round. If you're open year round, it is not going to give you that season feature. It will just say on your listing that you are open year round. And then come here. You can add any sort of rate information. So if you are, maybe you are, I don't know, maybe you're an attraction that has different rates for different ages or something of the like. You can add that information here. So you can say maybe senior discount for coffee is $2. And then what you're going to do is click that Add Rate button. If that's not the rate that you're looking for, or if you need to edit that, you can hit the trash can icon and it will remove it. We'd like to go ahead and add that. Okay. Alrighty. And then within this section here, these are your categories. So it's important to pick what's most applicable. Explore Minnesota Tourism will review these categories that you select to ensure it matches with what the website visitor would expect to see. If you need help understanding what each category means, Explore Minnesota Tourism has a resource on their industry site that explains this. It's important to be really intentional here. So while waterfalls and dance may be features of your property, they likely don't represent what a tourist is looking for when they're looking for waterfalls in the outdoors adventure section of the website, for example. To maintain some strong engagement and perception of high quality information on the website, we ask that you use categories to represent your listing's core offering. This is what ultimately determines what pages of the website your business will appear on. And also using amenities in your description to describe ancillary features that differentiate your premises to make it unique. The number one priority is making sure that we're creating the best user experience for the travelers. So with that said, there are not a whole lot of categories that I can choose from that will clearly identify. There's really only one category that I can choose from that will clearly identify what I am. So I have selected that. I don't have a place for a tourist to stay, and there's not much else to do within my business here. So I don't need to select any of those. I do not service any sort of tourism information source, and I am not an event venue. So the last and final field within this screen is your description. Your description here has to be at minimum 100 characters in length or 5,000 characters maximum. What we are going to do, it's best practice to copy and paste from a plain text editor like Microsoft Notepad or something like that, so that certain formatting styles aren't picked up, like strange characters or emojis. So I have done just that, and I'm going to paste that into this text field here. And then you can also use this little formatting toolbar up at the top to add additional formatting to your description here. I don't actually need to add any additional formatting, so I am good to go. So I'm going to click Create. Once I click Create, you will see the same screen that existing listing owners can see when they go to edit their listing. So you'll see that there are several more pieces of information that need to be collected now that I have created my listing. To see all of these options, including your photos and your videos, you're going to use the left-hand navigation over here. We're going to start with this dashboard for contact information, and then we'll move down the screen and go through each of these. So your business information is exactly what you just saw in the left screen. It's going to be your business name, address, and published under. So there are no changes that I need to make to that. So I'm going to get out of that. Here's a map feature, and in the map that shows up, this thumbnail that shows up is what will also show up on the website. You have a few different options to adjust your map. You can select the pin button up here, and you can manually select a new pin location if it is not exactly correct. 99% of businesses are only going to use a pin, so you can kind of just focus on that. You also have the option to draw borders around your area like so. Borders are really used more for trails and byways where route lines are necessary. So if you are not a trail or a byway or a state park, you can pretty much bank on the fact that you will need to use a pen. So we'll go ahead and click Save. And then we'll come up here to the top again, and we will go into the phone section. So phone numbers. There are several options here that you have at your disposal. If all of these numbers or many of these numbers are the same, you do not need to duplicate the number. Simply add the number in one place, and that will be the number that shows up on the website. The more straightforward information that we can give to the visitor, the better. If you do have a toll-free or you have an alternate phone number, you can add that here. But if they do not differentiate, then you can just add it the one time. Click Save. And then here in the email menu, you have the option of adding a business email or a booking email. Booking email would be something for like maybe you're a hotel that has a reservations email inbox, and you would like all of your reservations to go to that email inbox, and it differentiates from your general inbox, which is like maybe it's info at your business name or something like that. I don't have a booking email, so I am not going to add that here. Again, if these two email addresses are the same, don't feel like you have to duplicate those. You can just add it the one time. And then down here in website, similar format, you have several options here for adding different websites. Maybe you have a mobile version of your website which has a different URL, and you can add that down here. But for me, I just have the one website. And it's important that we do include the HTTP or HTTPS protocol here. That enables the website to link on the Explore Minnesota website. So that's really helpful to have. So then I'm going to click Save. And then in social media, this is where you can add any of your social media handles for your company page or your company profile. Here I just have my general Facebook page, and I'm going to click Save. You'll see this little button down here called Verify. What Verify will do is it will bring you to the website. It will bring you to facebook.com/whatever handle you put in there to verify that you have landed on the right page. You can see that I have not landed on the right page. So I would come back in here and I would add the correct handle, but I don't care to do that right now on on the demo, but we can just pretend that that is correct. Okay, so we've made our way through this dashboard here. Now we are going to come back over to the left-hand navigation, and we're going to work our way down the list. We've got hours and rates here as well, and you remember this from the first screen that we typed it into. Maybe you have decided, you know what, I'm not open seasonally, I'm open year-round. You can just simply switch back and forth between the two. You may notice that your business hours and your seasonality differ in the new system, and that's because in this new system, it appears in a much more structured format, which is better for SEO. If your business hours vary or there are nuances to your business hours that don't quite fit within this format, you can either indicate that in your listing description, or there's an additional date information field under the amenities over here, which we will go through in a minute. So this looks good to me. I'm going to click Save, and I don't have any other additions to my rates, but you can see that I can edit that here. And then I'm going to come back over to my left-hand nav, and I'm going to click on exploreminnesota.com, and that is going to further expand a submenu below that where I can edit my categories, my descriptions, my photos, and my videos. So within the categories, this menu does not change from the first menu that you saw when you selected your category, and this looks really good to me, so I've got no changes to that. You will see your description here. Also, you may edit it from this menu. I don't have any edits there, so I'm going to leave that one alone. And your photos. So as you remember, we uploaded photos in the very beginning of this training. You'll see that for this listing, no photos have been assigned yet. However, we know that we already went through the process of uploading those photos at the account level. So what we need to do is link the photo from the account to the listing. So I'm going to click this little link here. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to assign what photo I would like to appear in my listing. All you have to do is simply click the photo, and you'll have that appear in your listing. You may want to have all of your photos within your account appear in your listing. And then if you want to rearrange how the photos are displayed on the website, you can simply drag your photos around here. The first photo that is within the sequence will be the primary photo that will show up on the website. So this will be the photo that is probably seen by most visitors. Let's see, I would actually like my interior shot to be my first photo. And then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to click Save. As I mentioned earlier, ideal number of photos to have is anywhere between 3 and 10. I've got 3 photos. I feel good about that. So I'm going to move on, coming back over to the left-hand side, clicking on videos. I have some videos that I want to associate with my listing. So I'm going to click this Edit button, and I am going to add a couple videos here. At this time, only YouTube videos are supported within the system, not Vimeo or any of those other players. So right now it's just videos through YouTube. So you'll add your YouTube link directly from YouTube. I've got a couple videos here that I want to add, and then I'm going to click Save. You can upload up to 10 videos from YouTube at this time. 10 is the max. Okay, so now I've gotten through the videos, and I'd like to make my way down this list over here on the left-hand side. I've got some amenities I'd like to add that will further describe my property. It looks like I have 0 selected so far, so I'm going to click this Edit button. And I'm going to go through this list and select what is what is most appropriate, what's most relevant. I have accessibility features. My average meal price is less than $15. I am kid friendly, and we serve breakfast and brunch and lunch. Now, if you remember earlier, I said if you did not have, if you have some nuances to your hours or dates of when you're open, you can also add that information here. This is a plain text field. You can just go ahead and enter that description there, and it will show up in your listing. So that's another handy feature and another way to add additional date information to your listing. You can click save. And there are my amenities. And then finally, we've got this little listings, or I'm sorry, we've got this settings menu under our listings main menu. You do have the ability here, if you would like, to click this button to unlock the ability to delete your listing. All of the listing deletion requests are vetted through an administrator, and they'll take about 2 business days to process. It's important to note that deleted listings can't be restored. So if a listing is deleted, it deletes everything inside of it, like photos and videos and categories, descriptions, etc. So always proceed with caution. If you do delete your listing, if you select your reason, so you can type in here, maybe this is a duplicate listing. You can come through here, click this button, and there is another option to undo your deletion request if you would like to do that. But know that all deletion requests are routed through an administrator, so you don't have the ability to delete right from this menu. But we wanted to give you guys the opportunity to reach out to staff and let them know if maybe like your listing is a duplicate, and the administrators can actually do some work on their end to merge those listings. So with that, that about sums it up for business listings. If you guys have any questions around business listings that were not answered during this demo, go ahead and put them in the Q&A window, and we will review them at the end of this call. I'm going to take a quick sip of water and move on to events. Okay, so events are a lot like business listings. You'll notice that several of the modules and the widgets are all very similar, and a lot of the same fields exist. So if you made it through the listing section with us, this event section should be a breeze. When you click on events, you will see a few different views for viewing events. You'll see this calendar format, you'll see a list format, and you'll see an expired format. Your expired format is going to be any of your listings that have been expired, that are still saved in the system. However, they're not published on the website because they are expired here. Within the calendar view up here, you can advance to various months. Maybe you are a business that has a lot of recurring events, so this feature is really nice. You can kind of see that all laid out. You can also adjust the format by month, week, and day as well. I personally prefer this list view. It is very similar to the listings view in that it gives you the name of the event and then the ability to edit that event right here. So I don't have any list or event listings right now. We're going to create one. So let's go ahead and do that. Oh, and also you can use the search feature, the search box here. If you have a long list of events that you need to search through, you can go ahead and enter the name of the event up here, and that should surface it. These other search parameters, these other search filters, you probably won't need to use, so I'm not going to go through those right now. So I don't have an event yet, and I'd like to create one. I can either click on the event button over in the left-hand menu and click Create Event. or I can come up to my top level navigation and hit that plus button and create new event. Both will bring you to the same place. Okay, so this looks a lot like a business listing setup. So I'm going to enter my event name here. I am going to offer free coffee on Fridays. So my event name is Free Coffee Fridays. My event name, or I'm sorry, my venue name is Brittany's Coffee Shop. And my address, I am going to pick, I believe it would be North Coffee Shop. Go ahead and add that there. So because our business listings are already loaded into the system, I can simply pick my address from this pick button down below. If you don't have a business listing that's connected to where the location of the event is, that's quite all right. You can simply add the address here. So before I scroll down too far, I'm going to come over to the date section. So I don't have any dates entered and I need to enter some dates. So maybe this event runs through the entirety of February here, and it's not every day and it's not all day. Well, actually it will be all day, but it won't be every day. So I'm going to leave all day selected and I'm going to unselect every day so I can come through and select only which day this event happens on. It happens all day on Fridays through the month of February. I'm going to add that date right there. If you have an event that varies its time during the date range selected, like if you're hosting a live performance with a matinee performance on Saturday only, you're going to have two date entries. So one will be for the regular performance during that date range, selected with Saturday unselected, and another maybe for the matinee performance during that date range, selected with Saturday and the correct date. So for example, just using that example here, maybe I have a performance that's running through the entire month of February, and it is not every day, but maybe only on Saturdays. I have it running from 12 to 3, and that is how you add multiple dates. So this feature is very nifty. It's also much better for SEO because of its structured format. Search engines really appreciate having the dates and times broken out this way. If there are any sort of nuances or to your date for your event, or your event can't really follow a structured format, there's another area within the amenities field that you can add additional date information. If you don't want a date or time, you simply click the red trash can icon to remove that. And then down here, you also have a rate field. So I don't have a numeric value. All of my coffee is free this day, but maybe I have discounted discounts on my lattes. So I'm going to say latte discounted rate, and my latte is going to be $3. Okay, and then I'm going to scroll down here and I am going to select a category that aligns the best with the description of my event. I will probably select culinary events here and move on down the list, and nothing else is really striking my fancy. So I am just going to go with culinary events. Again, these categories should be, these categories will be reviewed by Explore Minnesota Tourism team. And so choose wisely. And what categories are selected here will determine what pages and how a user will search for those events on the Explore Minnesota Tourism website. So here, last but not least, I've got my event description. So I am going to bring that over as well. And I'm going to click create. Okay, so this is a brand new event. I still have multiple modules here that I need to fill out. Before I get too far, I just want to also say that any sort of listing request or event request that is brand new will take around 2 business days for the Explore Minnesota tourism team to review and approve. So understand that when you are entering this information, you may not see it show up on the site for a few days. Okay, so I have entered all of my event information here. I don't need to change anything. Very similar map feature to the business listing. I have the ability to add a pin, and that is exactly where I want to add it. I can also add a border, but again, that's really not going to be used for events at all. It's really for trails and byways. So most of you guys will always use a pin. Then I'm going to come over here into the phone section, and I am going to add my phone number. Very similar to listings, you're not going to duplicate phone numbers. If you have the same phone number over and over again, don't feel like you have to fill them all out. Just simply add in one place and click save. Email addresses, you have a few different options again. Business and booking, maybe your booking is maybe you're an attraction that is selling tickets and you have a different ticket email address or ticketing email address. You can add that here. I do not. I'm going to add my email address here under business and my event URL. So similar to listings, you have a few different formats. You can put your regular old event URL in there. If you have a separate ticketing URL where you are transacting all of your ticket sales, you can enter that here, and so on and so forth. If these URLs do not change, then you do not need to duplicate them. You can simply add them in one place. And click save. And then maybe you have a special Facebook event page that you have set up, or a YouTube page that you have set up to promote your social media, or perhaps you just want to use your general channels that you have also linked to in your listing description. You can do that all right here. Click save, and then also click that verify. If I was logged in, I would be able to see all of this and that would work, but I am not. We are going to assume that did work, and that is the Facebook profile I would like to link to. So I've made it to the bottom of this dashboard here. Now I'm going to come over to my left-hand menu and look under events and see what other information I need to find, or what other information I need to complete. So looking at the dates and rates, I'll click on that, and I will reassess my event dates. This is the correct span, the correct date range, the correct day that it recurs on, and the correct time. So that works for me, and my rates are also correct, so I don't have any changes there. Then I am going to click this exploreminnesota.com. That's going to reveal a submenu where I can adjust my categories, descriptions, photos, and videos. Within the category menu here, you'll see you have several categories to choose from. I am good with this category that I have selected. I'm going to come into descriptions here. Maybe I want to bold that area right there, so I can certainly do that. Click Save. And then with photos. So again, all of our photos have been uploaded at the account level, but nothing has been linked to this individual event listing. So that is what I would like to do. I'm going to click that link, and I am going to select which photo I would like to show, or which photos I would like to show in my event profile listing. Maybe I want all 3 of these events, but I would like that photo to show up first. So I simply drag around, and that will be the order in which it shows. And the first photo will always be the primary photo, so that will be the photo that most of the users will see once they land on the website. There is no limit to how many photos can be uploaded at the account level. However, rule of thumb, we recommend anywhere between 3 and 10 photos. And then within the event listing menu, you also have the ability to add videos, very similar to the listing profile, the business listing profile. At this time, only YouTube videos are supported. And you can have up to 10 videos within your event profile. Oh, and you can see what I didn't do. So I pasted my link here and I clicked Save. You actually have to click Add in order to add that video, and then you can click Save. Okay. So I only have this video that I want to showcase. Below this menu here, below this page on the left-hand menu, I also have amenities. So you can see I haven't added any of my possible amenities yet. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to click Edit. This is a field, directions to facility or event. This is, if you want to offer special instructions around maybe parking or how to navigate to your event specifically, you can add that information here. This is just a open text field. And then just kind of come down through the list here and add any sort of event attributes or anything else that seems like it may relate to your listing. I have accessibility features, and energy efficient. And if there is any additional date information, if you remember when we were talking about the format of the date, if that format does not work for you, that structure does not work for you, you can simply come over into the amenities button and you can add additional date information right here. You can also add this to your event description, but if it's specifically around your date or time, you can add that right here. And then additional rate information as well. So maybe the formatted structure for the rates is not giving you exactly what you need and you just need to explain that to the user. You can use this field here. It's a free text field. You can use that here and add that information. And then you're going to click Save. And you will see which amenities you have selected up here on this menu. Last but not least, you've got settings. So unlike business profile listings, you do have the ability to directly delete an event from this menu. There's very little need to ever delete a past event. Even more importantly, if you have an annual event or one event that regularly occurs, it's best to find the expired event in your account and to revive it by editing it. When you do this, the original event will be republished with current information, meaning the old links to the original event listing will direct people to the latest information, and any SEO authority that old link has garnered will be effectively preserved. So it is on rare occasion that you will ever need to delete an event. However, that feature is available to you. And it should also be noted that deleted events cannot be restored, so any of the information within that event listing will be deleted as well. And that sums up our event section. So with that, we have gone through the account dashboard. We have gone through building and editing a business profile listing. We have gone through editing and building an event profile listing. We have added photos to our account, and we have edited the photos within our account. And we have gone through users, and as well as how to update your account, your primary account information. So with that, we are going to head over to the Q&A and answer some questions that you folks may have. So if you have any remaining questions, please enter those now, and we will go through this list. Laura, can you call up some questions?
Sure. So one of the biggest questions we're seeing consistently come through is, I missed the beginning. Can you guys tell me the address of the extranet again? So that's HTTPS. You don't have to type that in, but you can, https:// or you can just start with extranet.exploreminnesota.com. And that should take you to the entry page. And then you can't just log in if you've never been in before, but your emails have been carried over. So if you click, I forgot my password, it'll initiate a password reset. If you had a login to the old system, then you will have a login to this one. And it'll just reset your password. You'll receive an email, and then you can click the link in that, set your password for the new system, and you should be in. If you find that your email does not exist and you don't get a message to be able to do the password reset, then you can request a user and give the team at EMT, at Explore Minnesota Tourism, about 48 hours or so to turn it around. They may turn it around sooner, but we're giving them, they've got about 48 hours to turn things, especially given that this is the very beginning and there's probably going to be a large volume of requests coming in. Other questions. Can you edit an annual event's dates rather than recreating? Yes, you can, and that would be what we recommend, because what that does is it revives the original page location of the event, and that means that it helps retain its SEO, search engine authority, over time. So if you have an event that happens annually, instead of starting a new listing for the next year, go back to the old one and revive the dates. You can just add more dates and then delete the original set. Let's see. The extranet pages are available now. Yes. So for anyone who's wondering that, you can go and you can log in right now, and you can check out all of the data that's listed. Once everything is updated, there is not a way to preview the entire listing, because this is actually a dedicated system that is only for entering the data, but that data syncs with the new website 3 times a day. So, and I believe the times are around 8 p.m. And then I think it's 8 hours from that. Oh, this is showing off my terrible math. I think 4 a.m. and then I think it's 4 a.m. and then 8 a.m. No, 12 p.m., something like that. So it will update 3 times a day. You'll be able to see it rather quickly. And then if you see anything that doesn't look right, then you can always change it. But you should be able to see all the basic data, and it's all very, formatted. So there's not a lot that can go wrong there. Let's see. My events are week-long and overnight, family camp and family weekend. How can I enter dates for those? So you would enter several date arrays. Do you want to add another date array? There you go. And so you can do a week-long one here, click one there. And then you can, if it's all day, then you can just leave it. If it's not, then you can add hours specifically. If it only repeats on Thursdays and Fridays and it runs over 3 or 4 months, she just did that one. So if let's say this was 210 to 25 and it's Thursdays and Fridays over that period, then you can check the specific days. Let's see. There's one around, I'm just going to kind of talk a little bit about directions in general. And for anybody whose questions we don't get to, because there are a lot coming through right now, we are logging all of these, and you'll get an email if I haven't answered them already as well. So we'll try and touch as many as we can with the time that we have left. How long is our window, Brittany? Is it ending at 3?
I believe 3:30.
Okay, so we've got a little bit of time. Yeah. So my events are, well, wait, no, I've already written that one. So, sorry, the character allotment for directions. So just as an FYI with the directions field, which is under amenities, do you want to go to that one, Brittany?
Yep.
There is a character limit. If it turns out to be, you have to click, I think, edit.
Oh, sorry. Actually, here, let me do a listing here. And then
all of them have it, but yeah.
Okay, for descriptions?
Amenities.
Amenities.
And then click edit. And so directions right there. On every listing, there will be a link that sends people directly to Google Maps based on the latitude and longitude you set with your pin. So it'll be easy for people to get kind of the typical directions, but then if you have special directions like, and when you get there, park in this parking lot and walk up to this building, that's really what this is for. More than anything. Obviously, if you want to write other directions, that's fine, but there's no need to have, multiple layers of detailed directions, in the sense that as long as Google Maps can give the directions, you don't need to repeat them. You can just kind of put the things that are not what Google Maps would be able to capture. Let's see, what else do we have? Is there a way to change the official listing or account name? Yes, there is. Yeah. And so you can actually change your listing title as separate from your account itself as well. So you just click edit, and then you can edit your business name. All of the changes that get made in the system do go through an approvals queue with the team at Explore Minnesota Tourism. So when you make changes, they won't happen immediately. They'll review them. If there's anything that seems either mistaken or not quite right, then they'll reach back out and talk to you guys about it. Otherwise, they may approve them and then send them live. So just be aware of that when you're making changes, that sometimes there's a delay thanks to the approvals queue process. Can you hyperlink from your listing to areas on your personal website? So you can. One of the things that's going to happen on this new site is that there is going to be pretty robust performance tracking on these listings. And so there's some key areas that are very structured, like the email links and the website links and the phone numbers and the social media links that were on the last screen that you had, Brittany. Can you go back a screen? There you go. So all of those are going to have pretty robust tracking on them to understand how many referrals are getting passed either via phone and website and those sorts of things. But that's not to say that you can't have links in your description. They'll just, any links that you have in your description, specifically in the official description field, those will also get tracked, but they will just get tracked as sort of generic referrals. So you won't necessarily know how someone's interacting with your listing. Links in any other part of the site that are not in the description or in those structured places won't be tracked. So that's just something to think about strategically. You won't necessarily be able to read all of the different links. If you start putting them in the directions area, or if you start putting them in the rates area, you're not going to get tracking on that. Can online reviews be incorporated? So at this point, it's going to function a lot like the existing website. There are TripAdvisor reviews that are coming through on the existing website, and they will here as well. The way that you make that happen is by adding your TripAdvisor link in the social links area of the listing. So Brittany, I think you had some of that up. Yeah, right there. So if you add TripAdvisor, you're enabling TripAdvisor listings there. To add another user or editor to your account, what you need to do is simply send, if the person already exists within the system, you can add them, but just send a request. That's the easiest way to do it, is to send a help request to the Minnesota team, and they'll make sure that person gets added and they get associated with the right accounts at the right permission level. Let's see what else we've got here. It slowed down. If anybody else has any further questions, go ahead and type them now. I'll give you about 30 seconds. And if we get nothing else flowing through in the next 30 seconds, then we'll recap all of these. Anybody who sent a question directly, expect that we'll also message you back. We'll go from there. We can go ahead and close off. Is there a specific area for specials? So specials, if they're associated with, so you can do rates. Rates are there, and that's where they're going to be. On the new website, there is not going to be a special dedicated area for deals. So if you're running a special rate for the season, you can add a special rate for the season or a special deal rate in your rates area. How do I know if I had an account previously? If you enter your email into this system at extranet.exploreminnesota.com and you do the password reset and it gives you an error that says you don't have an account, then you know you don't have an account. At which point you need to request an account, and so there's a link for that. Request a new account, and you can do that. And then I just see a few like kind of particular things. I have, people asking specific questions about whether their TripAdvisor link works or not. Those are things that you can use the help form, and the team can help you just to check into that. Log into your account and see if you have the right information there. And if you don't have the right information in your account when you log in, then you can correct it, and hopefully that fixes it. And if it doesn't fix it, then you can reach out with a help form. Okay, so that's all the questions that I see. I think we're probably good, Brittany.
Great. All right, well, as I said at the top of the call, we are going to send this recording over to the Explore Minnesota team, and probably by this time tomorrow, they will have it listed on their industry website. So please check there for that. They will also have the Extranet training manual posted, as well as the real link to use for the Extranet. Everything is ready to go. So we encourage you guys to get in there and get all of your listing information set up before the website launches in early February. If you do have any other questions, please reach out to the Explore Minnesota Tourism team. We were so happy to train you guys on this system today, and we hope that you enjoy it. So thank you very much.